What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another edition of the Triple Threat Show. As always, I'm your host, Mara Fatemi. No Jeremy Lapidus with me, no Nolan Jambor. Still just rolling solo. The boys should be back here soon. But just wanted to hop on here and just run through some college football news. We saw Alabama go up against Oklahoma last night. That was an unbelievable game. Got a lot to unpack there. And then three more college football playoff games fully hanging in the balance here later tonight. Starting right off at noon. We got one at noon, one at 3:30, one at 7:30. We got a lot to unpack. We got a lot to unpack here. But before I move any further, just check out the pages. First, wherever you get your podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Check us out on the Triple Threat Show there. YouTube here, of course. Follow the TikTok page at Boston Sports Takes. As always, that's my personal TikTok page. Always posting there as much as I can, almost daily. Got the Triple Threat three threat at Three Threat Show on TikTok as well. Anywhere you guys can get your content, you guys can find us everywhere and anywhere. But let's just jump right on into it because we got to get to this Alabama game. So you're telling me that in a game where Alabama, first of all, this is the rematch. These two teams squared off against each other earlier. I think it was like November 15th in November, midway through November. And Alabama lost that game. They got beat down that game. There was one of Ty Simpson's worst. Yes, he threw for 300 yards, but in a game where he just got dominated, John Mateer was on another level the entire game, and Alabama just got dominated in the original matchup. The rematch comes out. Alabama gets ranked ninth in the rankings, in the college football playoff standings. Nobody thinks they have a chance to win. Nobody thinks they're good enough to get it done. They come out and first off go down 17-0 in by the beginning of the second quarter. It was 17-0. Like it looked like it was another game for John Mateer. John Mateer with a rushing touchdown. They were just running away with it. Mateer ended up throwing for 300 yards as well. He was a great game for the kid. But what ended up playing the difference for this one was Alabama's defense, Alabama's special teams. It started off with Alabama touchdown to start off just a normal passing touchdown by Ty Simpson. Classic. The ensuing drive, Mateer misses a player down the middle for what would have been a big time game, 40-yard game. Wide receiver just drops it out of his hands. 4th and 8. Punter goes to punt it, drops the ball. The kick ends up getting blocked, and the Bama gets short field. It's already 17-7. They go down and score again. The following drive, John Mateer throws a pick six. And next thing you know, before the end of the half, it's 24-17. I'm doing math. Yes. Well, I think it was actually 17-17. But regardless. No, it was 21-17. Whatever it was. I can't do math right now. Regardless, it was a ridiculous game, and from there it was just Alabama ended up going on a 24-0 run. They scored 24 unanswered points last night against that Sooner squad in a game where everybody thought Oklahoma was going to come out, dominate again on the defensive side of the ball. John Mateer was going to go out and do his thing offensively. I mean, Deion Brooks still had 100 yards receiving. The entire team, Oklahoma still showed up. They showed up the best that they could. But the special teams blocked punt with the pick six that John Mateer threw ended up being just too much for Oklahoma to pass up. Oklahoma had more total yards, more passing yards, more rushing yards. I mean, in pretty much every stat you could think of, Oklahoma beat Alabama. But it ended up being Alabama's game. It ended up being Ty Simpson going out there, still throwing for 230, no picks. That's the biggest thing. 0 interceptions. In the last 5 games, Ty Simpson has thrown at least 1 interception in each of the last 5 games until last night. I mean, there's not much to say other than he showed up. He's trying. To play the way that he did, down 17-0. You gotta give him credit where credit is due, because first of all, it's not easy. Second of all, he just showed out. He showed up and he showed out. He showed up in the press conference too, and the first thing he said was, "Thank you." Right at the journalists that were asking the question. There was I think one of the journalists asked him. I don't remember what the question was, but he goes, "Thank you guys for writing us off. Thank you guys," and pointing the right at the journalist saying that. Regardless, it was a great game, but Alabama moving on to face Indiana here, or yeah, the number one ranked Indiana, the Heisman winner Fernando Mendoza is going to be standing across from him. How that game's going to go, we'll dive deeper into that when we have the rest of the boys here. But we got 3 more games to dive into. First, Miami and Texas, real quick. Miami's really good. Their offense, Carson Beck is heavily underrated, I'd say, this year. They've had flashes where they can be good, but Texas A&M's defense is for real. I'm gonna take a good defense over a good offense any day of the week. Texas A&M has all the stats, all the capabilities to be really good this year. Their offense is really well balanced. Yes, inconsistent. Yes, they've shown times where they're not great, especially that last game when they played against Texas. I wouldn't say they got bum rushed, but they didn't play their best game to close out the season at all. Now they have to go into a playoff game against the ACC champs in Miami. It's going to be a good offense versus good defense, but I'm going to roll with Texas A&M to get that one by 4 points here. 28-24, my prediction for that one. And then we have a couple more games here. Tulane, Ole Miss. I'm going to roll through this really quick. I know Ole Miss doesn't have a head coach. I know all the stuff with Lane Kiffin is out. I'm not going to dive into that too deep. But Ole Miss is going to show out. It's in Ole Miss. You're telling me Tulane is going to go into Ole Miss and beat Ole Miss? It's just not going to happen. Ole Miss is going to win this one by I'd say at least 14. If not, I would say 21 points. It's not going to be close at all. Ole Miss by a landslide in that one. And then honestly, a little bit of a quieter game. James Madison and Oregon. James Madison, Oregon. A lot of people are going to say Oregon's just going to beat them. This is another one of those TCU and who did TCU play in the national championship? Who did they play? Washington? I think they played Washington a couple years ago. A lot of people are going to say it's going to be one of those G5 schools that shows up in the college football playoffs and loses. No. It's not going to happen this year. I seriously think James Madison's offense is one of the most underrated offenses in college football right now. Yes, they have had some squeakers. Yes, they almost lost to Washington State. Yeah, they almost lost to Georgia State. But this team in JMU has shown up and hung 60 points on teams. Granted, not Oregon, but Oregon also isn't always Oregon. This is a team in Oregon that almost lost to Penn State earlier this year. This is a team in Oregon that almost lost to Washington in the last game of the season. The one edge that I'll give this team in Oregon that I'll say, yeah, they have the edge. They play really consistently in this place. I gave it away. Is they're playing at home. They're playing in the Northwest. They're playing in Oregon. This is gonna be, if JMU shows up in Oregon and beats Oregon as the number 24 team in the country, I'm sorry, it's probably the biggest upset in recent memory, at least in the last 20 years. I don't know who are you going to compare to that? Who are you going to compare to JMU going up into Oregon and beating the Ducks? It's going to be basically unheard of. So I'm going to say it's going to be a lot closer. I'd say it's probably going to be a touchdown difference. I'm going to say 27-21. That's 6 points. 27-20, whatever. That's my score prediction. I think it's going to be really, really close. It's going to be back and forth, probably a ping-pong fourth quarter. But I think Oregon gets it done late in the game. I think their run game is still really good. I think they're going to rule. They're going to try and play smash mouth football with their run game. And I'd say Oregon's probably going to move on here into the rest of the college football playoff. Who do I think is going to end up winning it all? I mean, it's pretty hard not to say Georgia. Georgia's easily the best team in football. I know Indiana has the Heisman winner in Fernando Mendoza. Dare I say, though, could Indiana get bounced out by Alabama? Crazy thing to say, Probably, yeah. But I wouldn't be shocked. I know Ty Simpson can show out I know this with the way that defense can play when they show out. They showed up in that game last night. You got to give them credit where credit is due. When their defense can step up like that, they can get it done. It's just going to be about can Indiana get the run game going, and we'll get deeper into that later on, probably late next week, with the next round of games coming up soon. But I was trying to pull up the bracket because I can't remember. I literally cannot remember the sides of the bracket with college football playoff. I literally can never remember it. Who's playing who with my picks? Please, ESPN, real quick. All right. So if my picks stand true, we get Texas Tech and Oregon, which is going to be a phenomenal game. We get Ole Miss and Georgia. I know Ole Miss doesn't have a head coach right now, so I think Kirby Smart's going to have him there. Georgia's going to be ready for that game. And then we get Texas A&M and Ohio State, which is going to be another phenomenal game. I think we're going to be lined up for some great games here. But for now, we got to get through today. Oregon's minus 21. That's crazy. Ole Miss is minus 17.5. That makes more sense. And Texas A&M minus 3. If I had one game to pick, if I had one line to pick for you guys today, Texas A&M minus 3 is the easiest lock of the game or the lock of the week I've seen in a long, long time. That's my picks. Oregon, probably all the favorites. Oregon, Ole Miss, and A&M. JMU might have a chance. Miami definitely has a chance, but I'm going to say A&M in that one. We'll see how it goes. But I'll see you guys in the next one. I was just going to do a quick video because I do have to head to work soon. But yeah, have a great rest of your day, guys. Peace.